Yeah, those funds. He brings inside of things. Yeah, I don't know. They could know that. But people like that. But they don't talk. Yeah. Well. Out of the wonder. That's really stupid. Yeah, it's 6 o'clock. We're we can start the regular Monday night council for October 20th. And it's to the United States, which is and the business. So that we can
Hi, Mark.
here, here,
Lois Schneider.
here, and here. We directing reunite with the absence of Alan. First thing up will be the approval of the agenda tonight. Any corrections or changes that need to be done in your call? And motion made by Lois and seconded by Ryan to approve the agenda. Any discussion on that? If not, after a vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Same sign, those opposed. Motion passed 5-0. Item number 4, consent agenda. Minutes and the expenditures. Open up the discussion or. I'm gonna make a motion with the consent agenda. It's been motioned by Ryan, seconded by Kevin Keeney to approve the consent agenda with the minutes and expenditures. Any further discussion with that? If not, I will for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion also carries 5-0. Item number 5, the public forum. Anyone here to speak on the public forum? It's kind of happening tonight.
Probably missed your view about the changes to the agenda. That would be the sheriff's department, not.
Absolutely.
But I guess I can just say that I'm planning to meet with Chad on city. So I'll be in person. I know it needs to be to have a whole lot for him.
And, item 7, people.
Evening. Like everybody represent Hawkeyes. Yeah. A few things. RO number 1, the interstage booster pump VFD is bad. So we have the 3 trains and we run a different train every day. So it seems to be on that 3rd day. Once it switches over to that, and it tells train 1 that that's what we're going to use that day. That's when we start getting each part not talking to each other correctly. Somebody did kind of look at it. The VFD for the booster pump is bad. So we came and looked at it. We still are able to operate it. We just have to keep an eye on it. And it calls us out if it happens to shut down. So it's 1 month and then we just reset our own and start back up. And that usually runs the rest of the day
Did you look into a replacement for that? Anything? Great since you are.
Anything new.
So, Bradley or something at least stops that light.
Also on RO1, there's a little light gas actuator. So if we mix the raw water back into the finished RO water, just to taste it, whatever else we do it for. Okay. That bypass actuator, we had to, somebody shipped one and it was the wrong one, so we're working with how to get that one. And we've been operating for a while. We just run it off. So it's been fine. Yeah. Some more of our like big picture quarterly stuff. Gross alpha radium, manganese, everything came back good. I think the last one we said that we have another PFAS. He said December. And then we talked about, so we did the first set earlier in the year. Everything came back, nothing. So we're figuring that this one comes back nothing. That our sample period will be years instead of a couple of years. We sprung a leak in the fluoride. The fluoride injection goes through one of the big pipes. So we hadn't been running fluoride for maybe 3 weeks or 4 weeks. The groundwater naturally has a little bit, so there was some in the water anyway. We got that fixed last week, and just I get today doing samples of fluorides in the water. Fluoride, kind of one of those gray area things. Kind of recommend it. Don't necessarily have to do it, so it wasn't a big deal. Another water thing, big iron put in the water treatment plant ladder. So that's all done. Super nice. Yeah, it's nicer than the like just a couple tweaks that they did, wider steps with stuff on it like non. Oh, yeah, it was pretty slick. Lift station 5 casino, we started getting alarms, high wet well levels. VFD on pumps was bad. Yeah, so guys showed up from New Miller. Figured it out, got it fixed for us. Those pumps were good. We were worried that it was a pump, but so they swapped one out for us. And then we got more high level alarms. Just the flow had gotten hung up on something, so it wasn't correctly. We have one more E. coli sample for the year. That will be taken tomorrow. So far, everything's been non-detect, so everything's been running great with the UV system. And then after November 15th, when we shut everything down and take all the UV stuff out, they're going to come back in and they're going to switch that fan that's on the cabinet. In the drawings, they had it on the other side, and it was an issue. It's been working, so that's why we wanted to wait till after.
I don't feel it's like either correctly or they just install it because of time. But what happens is because they're between two walls, there's around it. Move out of there so the hot air is sitting from that area, which can then go and have issues. So in this case, they're going to move it to the and they can should be easy.
Yeah, they're just gonna plug that side up, cut a new hole, install it on the side. All the Omni site backup batteries and the plants and lift stations were replaced. It seems to be about the same time every year, so we just have wastewater plants are running really well. I think when the rains shut off, it was running pretty good then, and now it's just upgraded. But once winter comes and the weather starts changing, I think we just make a couple minor adjustments to rates and times and whatever else.
Jen, have you heard from CMT? We have those points for us.
I have not. And then last month, I passed a couple tests. We got wastewater two and water treatment two done. All have water distribution two. She said where they were about a month back up on that. They're not gonna have. So then I gotta look at three. Each level is a combination of experience and or education. So I was grade two prior for a couple of years. Yeah, I gotta talk to the board sharp in the morning in the office and she'll be able to let me know how long or what else I gotta do to get to that three. When I talked to her for the two, she just said, yeah, you were already taking twos. So I don't foresee anything being, having to wait years for that grade three.
Jen, the other item, computer service, the garage door operator.
Yep.
Having an I know Ryan, we did like 2 years ago now. We replaced the board, but not the operator.
Yep.
So all of that is still fine, but after, I have to assume that operator being sitting in the position that it was so long, operating probably took a toll on it, and I think this is supposed to be a bit better rated for the environment. As well as we do have bring out, so also,
Yeah, this one sounded like it was better than the one we have. The one we have lasted in those conditions lasted a long time. So it was-
right.
NEMA 7.
So,
Yeah. Ranch. And, correct.
Yep. Because that was I didn't look at the quote too much. I just
That would be the most common one. There's probably more of it. Cost wise, it's probably cost to go with that voltage because, well, it's probably, that's what we do. Record. It's not like your house or factory or something. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you got those plants, all the size pumps and 480 is what. That would be there.
Here's something we can actually.
yeah, I mean, if over indoor does the service from the rest of our indoors, keep it consistent service part of it, and I think what they have here is adequate for our facility. Um, as we consider it, should we-
Have to require 2 bids on.
so, and this is something like under 25,000, we can just do a, you can look at like a catalog, they call it a catalog price, where you can go online, um, verify it, but for this, um, you guys have any other Is there any other people around here that do door operation?
We have overhead door, which
Yes.
Ian Robinson. They are. That door. Possibly Adams, but I mean, when you get into this like equipment. um, We need work maybe, but. Look. Um,
And we just stuck with them because they come in and check all over every place in town, I think.
Jay, if you talk to whether there was any other IAs, um, I guess installation of that would not be because it says like exclusion open preparation, power control wire, and I'm assuming all the wiring would stay the same. They'd use the existing there. They just hook it up.
Take the old one out.
So furniture install. I guess you guys would like another. You can verify that, but I also think that at this level, if you were okay with us doing the purchase as long as it's at this price or below, we could procure another one just to verify and affirm the pricing, and then we could
You purchase and that this price is below, why you don't.
I can get uh, a couple quotes.
Yeah, if you wanna check out. Fine.
Motion made by Ryan, seconded by Lois to approve the $1,520 new door operator.
I think the motion was to authorize the purchase of the operator at or below this price. And then, get, more, figure out if this is fair pricing, and then you can.
All right.
This is not cruise purchase, if that's okay.
Yep, all right. We'll that choice with additional second. No further discussion on that, I take a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Those opposed? And that passes 5-0.
Jed?
Go on.
That would be the permit.
All right, let's kind of follow through on the engineer's report, and obviously take any questions, comments as we go along here. Wellness center, yeah, we initiated that conversation. I think we may have mentioned that last time with Amy Bosco on additional grant funding there. I actually talked to Amy last week as well in follow-up. On a couple of projects, including this one, and James, we're finalizing another exhibit here today. Along grant application, those are due November 1st. But we're putting on there funding that goes towards stormwater practices that we do American do additional costs to the city. It's 50/50 match practice that we already do doing. So there's additional funding to assist with that.
Brian, on
Yeah.
the topic of grants for the Wellness Center, or incentive programs, I think the touch base we have a lot of the Alliant and American. So the person reached out to me about deciding for it, and I think I mentioned to you that wasn't sure if like we had originally 3 tiers and what we are actually um, accepting in this case. Like, should I go ahead and slide and accept this, or yeah, so we're not guaranteed, we're not committing to actually going through all of the recommendations. I'm just curious how that works.
Yeah, I mean, yes, my short answer is it can be signed. We've had, guys going with an option that's not adding additional cost to the project. Like you said, details and later. But
We have to add that cost and other long term. Cross that bridge when we get to it. But what I was asking is if the original program had like 3 different tiers of improvements, and what I saw in there was just the first tier. Am I misunderstanding that, or is it like, yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's different options of tiers, and then you pick a tier that like falls under that's suited for the project and or for the rebates and cost effectiveness you can get out of it. I believe that's what you're referring to there. Is that
I will just follow up with her doing tomorrow. And
Tier one was the tier two that includes more
right? Yes, yes, okay, yes. Yes. Okay. 3 levels of detail or additional.
tier efficiency.
Yep.
Tier one was largely, there was no changes. It was how the facility was designed. It already operates, I know spawn and all that stuff. And as Ryan mentioned, tier 2 and tier 3, there gets to be a bit more like change for larger improvements. But I just know like tier 1, we accept that as result any changes. But I wanted to make sure that we weren't I guess locking ourselves into something where instead of
Sure. Yeah, and what you're saying there now, yeah, it is not locking. Really design for that matter, an assessment evaluation for that, for what they're focusing on for the
I'll just do one tomorrow.
record. Yeah, I can have Joe.
Yeah, I can do tomorrow's.
Okay. Yeah, any other questions, comments on this?
The others, and sent out, I don't know. Yet today, so they would send out in the last week, so we should I have them today that they're getting tomorrow, so they should be out on that. Let's see, Sunday, I was out at the Highland Street, for the Highland Elementary Schools Organization, and I was incredibly impressed about how they attended that. I was thinking maybe there'd be 30 or 40 kids, but I think we were probably pushing 200 or more. Kids and parents, family members, a lot of people went through. We were able to give out some flyers about the wellness center. Answer a few questions. There really wasn't anything too big, but I think it seemed like most people were aware of the project and were excited possibilities for it. So actually, I can bring this into a conversation with the rest, but I wanted to do I just feel like that's been close to election. Um, yeah, do we can schedule town hall meeting sometime next week? Week before the election. Um, is that something we open to? We had a work session at here. I don't know who requested to come here to city council chambers, but open up time to people if they have questions. They can stop by and ask them any kind of last minute or last minute before the election. So that's something everyone will be open to. Brian, is there that working with you?
I believe Monday, Tuesday, Monday, late in the week.
If we did Monday, we'll have your council meeting, would that work for everyone? Yeah, okay. It would work. Monday at 6 p.m. You can get that out there. I have on the list. Oh, I did find out Remote Foundation is not doing presentations, so we don't have any forward on that, but we'll still wait a week here. That's for how. So, stay tuned.
Thanks for the update.
Sorry, I got one last minute.
Oh, you're done.
Um, So if you remember, I spoke about the agreement that Sharon Telecom had with Arion, and we originally were not going to go after the program because the Build America Five requirements that would essentially it would be about $1 million and the interest loan. So we would save what we would pay on debt interest, but so that savings, would see the savings there, would potentially increase the cost of the entire project. That would have to apply to our project, which would increase our cost of the project realistically somewhere in the ballpark of 5%. So a 3 to 5% increase to the entire project for a potential 45% interest savings. The math doesn't quite add up there. However, I did find out that $3,000. It was we're already with it back with 0% interest. We had to borrow money. Anyways, better to use the cheaper debt option with lowish rates attached to it. So that's still an option available to us. That'd be good. That's something that it seems like insurance telephone board did that program. It's changed, aware of it. When you I told them and was looking for a full application to them, but I think they're like, able to consider it. So that's something we want to focus on after the bond. I'm just in the meeting I had with the representative Katie's there as well. But it seems like they can be flexible on the terms of I think we'll start payment and we'll pay it back. So, we can do the flexible, type of program where we keep the money involved in giving it to projects that can improve our community. But also well, and that kind of generosity. They're almost there.
Sure enough.
I think so. Be sure though that
All right. Cherry Lane, West. We have our weather. Watering that seed, more than what we had in the contract amount. Didn't have our. So, we're gonna keep that going. $2,000 of additional water usage. Say it again.
Who pays for the water? We metered it,
Well, it should have anyway. I guess I should be verified.
they were hooked up to the hydrant.
water painted that.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't have done any watering then, so we wouldn't have paid any of them. So we put, yes, all right, number of water in there in case it's needed. It's kind of like, some case, when you, repair that you don't know what you're gonna get. So we put in there a few waters, thinking maybe within that seating, and hopefully when we need them. So yeah, if they didn't need it at all, if the weather was good, the water was cooling, they wouldn't have had any water, and we just put things zero, it was by time, by number of trips, I should say. So yes. I mean, yeah.
Know where the water came from, like before we, and where.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And it was all in my seasons, and I can know why.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I can verify.
I make most of this.
This little sushi, I mean, the 2,000 would be for the labor,
Yes,
water.
yes, correct. Yeah.
Sorry. So why don't we do water projects for public record? I understand that having the traffic for risk usage, but at the same time, if they're using it for a project and they're gonna bill us, we're gonna pay, you're going to bill them for us to bill us back for it.
Either way, this seems ridiculous. Like. I got it. You can't. Do part of that. Need to do that. I don't even think that we should be billed for it here.
Well,
This part of the scope of the project, for the rest of it, I didn't see anything in this project, but it's like, how many columns were they have to be put down on?
Yeah.
I really think it's a little, I mean, ridiculous, but I'm really.
yeah, and I will add to that, Ryan. So this came up based on past projects where there was issues with getting grass stabilized, right? And with that were some of the comments that came out of that was what can we do to help make sure that we're getting proper grass growth and watering and removing debris and all that stuff. So what came out of that was in looking at past projects we've done as well as other places on there, it was to add an item for watering to really help ensure that you're getting that good stabilization for a small amount of value usually. That's going to help ensure that that's what you're getting. So that we discussed that through the design process. I don't know if you remember. We discussed that putting that watering into the specs and in the plan as a paid item. And by specification through SUDAS, that requires water only so many times, and then there's for additional times beyond that kind of. So that was the reason why it's in there in terms of a paid item.
When it came on contract, it's just sometimes they were supposed to.
Yeah, that's just a standard specification that it has so many waterings, correct? And then we added additional,
On top of that.
on top of that as a bid item, correct, to try to help.
And this would be
Sure.
top of.
Correct. And then we just went several weeks without any rain, these stuff.
Right.
And it was drying up. Yeah, that I would need to verify. So typically they go from a hydrant. Sometimes they do bring in a water truck if there's not a hydrant nearby. Obviously the rest one nearby. I would have to verify. Yep. Which is 50,000 over. The hydrant to verify that. I mean, I don't know. It was water truck or hydrant. Yeah, I guess either way. It's a good item to do an order. We go at that dollar amount for trips. So I'm not sure. I mean, no, touch on. I'm not sure though where you're going with it in terms of their compensation.
I'm just saying that if water came from us, it came from our hydrant, that's the, how they do.
So the question is, what is that water limit? Is it truly just a charge, like the labor for it?
It's like $2,000 to come down during sprinkler, it's all. $2,000 for somebody that fill the truck. Bring it down in water appearance.
Yes. Yeah, I have to look at it.
Kind of area.
Yeah.
The whole, you know,
It seems like a lot of water hydrants and.
If we have a water, they should be trouble water equipment to do.
Right.
So we have a meeting to table this item. Resolved. All those in favor of table this motion, this resolution, say aye.
It was the motion.
I'm second by all stuff. It's like, all those opposed, same sign. Like, this table with the motion as the part of the.
All right, I would assume or make a suggestion then to yeah, because you know, I think that's what we did. And essentially, that's all it is. It was the final, it was watering in the whole, for the whole thing. So the amount plus the extra, I mean, I think there was like $10 or something renewable per contract. So.
So motion by Kevin King and second by myself to also table resolution for application number 4. Any discussion on that? If not, take a vote on that. All those in favor of the table, say aye. Next, those opposed, same sign. Table motion passed 5-0.
All right.
And I assume those will be on the list.
All other issues items were taken care of there. We got a little bit more money that was moved from the campus sites. All of the extra seating that was part of the water. Things up, but I believe it. If there's any other questions, I'm sharing that.
I'll learn that.
All right. Paul Park. Oh, no, Brad, that's good.
The science, that's the school facility. I have had people say, it's very.
I need to follow those people on this, on me.
I mean, it's just.
It's part of the original conversation I had with them.
Yeah, even then, the people like, are we supposed to go through, I mean, it's this conversation, you know, that, there's another one. Oh, wait, there was for. So, I think, I think we'll have it, but it. I mean, that's. I mean, you know, and I think they're. Especially we start building on the center, because they're parking on the city ones. And that's not. Park, it doesn't turn out,
In the meantime, I think it's realistic to expect that parking lot in the water center will likely also be used with the school.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I get that, but at some point, there is construction that's not gonna be there.
No, there's not an option.
Okay, safety, yeah. Back up home, very- it's very-
No, that problem's gonna happen, Lois.
I know.
You're fine.
Yeah, that's right.
Problem less.
All right. Paul Park pickleball. I got a few items that we are working on there with the contractor. Sure which ones you're aware of or not aware of. We have some touch-up color on the court that needs to be done there. That I do not have a schedule on yet, but we've been coordinating with the contractor actually through the general contractor who there's some consultant or some contractor has not been the best at communicating. So we're going through his Docker on that. We have some discrepancy in some of the fence posts and rails out there that were damaged when they were installed. I had some more conversations with DNN Fence today on getting that resolved. I should have an answer here yet this week, and certainly we'll have that in front of you, if not remedy, by next council meeting. I've talked to Bowker a couple times last week, and then DNN finally got back to me today and this afternoon. So we're trading some messages there to get that remedy, but we will get that certainly taken care of into the shape that it should be in.
Brian, on the fencing.
Yeah.
I wrote the plans in the contract specifying vinyl fencing. Was there some confusion on some other document? I guess that's what, like, that where they saw
So-
or
Yeah, so actually, so, and I was out when this all was taking place, so I've been getting caught up on the situation at hand. So The way I'm seeing it, so typically we specify vinyl coating on the fabric, the mesh, if you will, and then the post, generally speaking, the rails, we do powder coated finish. I'd say 90% of the projects we do. That is what's in our specification for this. So it shows that it's vinyl coated. Well, that's for the fabric, the mesh, the post and rails should be powder coated,
Okay.
which they were. However, in the specifications also, those should all be, you always have some damage and stuff taken out in your fabricating. It's all supposed to be properly touched up, redone, painted correctly, and that was not done clearly, as you see it out there. Essentially, that is what Terrell from DNN recognized today, finally admitted to that. Apologize for that. He's talking about replacing one of the poles completely, I think just because of the amount of wear and damage on it. And then was talking, and then that's where we're working out the rest, is if the rest can be remedied on site or not properly by cleaning and painting how it should be done.
So we were
That should have been done though.
when we were on site, and I know Alice and John can attest to this, but they, I guess he was worried that they would replace all of it. He said the poster in the ground, that would be
Right.
pretty disruptive.
Yep.
I understand, I agree with that, but.
Yep.
And do what you can on those, but he said, some of the areas that they could completely replace that, all with the bracers and top bars and things like that. And it sounds like maybe that wasn't part of the conversation or was held true all through the conversation you guys had, so.
Yeah, and I threw out a few different options, obviously without trying to, want to tear everything up and concrete the post. I threw it back to them. You tell me a good remedy you think you can do that's going to get us the product and warranty and everything else that you're paying for and what's under the contract. And or is there some other options that we need to look at? And that's when he finally got back to me this afternoon. Said he's talking about replacing a couple of posts. I need to look at which ones exactly they are. And then the rest he feels can be done how it should have been done to begin with in terms of the painting or the cleanup.
So I know we have both some painting touch up and fence work
Yep.
to do. I would say we've gotten a lot of requests from the public about when they can utilize
Use
it.
it. I was
And our approach
Yeah.
so far has been, well, we don't want to go on an active construction site, A. But we also don't want to have a situation where contractors, there's damage done.
Yeah.
And they want to point out public to blame rather than responsible in theirs. How would you advise us in this case? But I think it makes sense to close it. It's unfortunate, and
I agree.
I would like to see the public use it, and especially when we walk by, you can see it looks perfectly playable.
Right.
But at the same time, I think they'll be exposing ourselves to liability that's maybe not in our best interest.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I thought it tonight when I drove over there and there were people playing on the tennis court. So, which, didn't make me happy, but that's how it is. I think legally, yes, that is the correct way, is to keep it close. In all legal terms, that pickleball court is really the contractor's still, their ownership. Until that project is accepted or closed out, they are liable for anything that goes on there. So if people were playing on there, somebody got hurt, really that could fall back to them, even if it wasn't their, nothing at the fault of the court. So yeah, I'd say even from a contractor side, they don't want you to have that open yet.
Would really be good for the street project, so until it's signed off,
Right.
it should be.
Correct. Yes.
I know.
Yep. No, it's unfortunate that I-
Asked about it, and
Yep.
tons of residents ask about it.
I'm sure.
To make sure that we all.
Or just swear in the option for temporary occupancy.
Yeah, I mean, it still doesn't take away that liability. Is the real concern there.
Well, what are you talking? I mean, with your conversation today.
Well, that's no, and that's
I
a,
mean.
that's a proper question. Right. I hope to have that answer tomorrow or for sure this week. But,
Reason you're on my money.
Some of
Yes.
these problems have been quite a while. Doesn't seem like it wants to resolve.
yeah, and we were getting different stories. I was getting different stories, and even last week from with my conversation with Bowker when they contacted DNN, then DNN was telling different stories, and that's finally said, well, it should be done through Bowker, but I just need to talk directly with DNN. I was able to do. I agree with Kevin. I agree with you. Yes,
Why didn't we put a completion date on this thing?
we do have a completion date on it. We have a substantial and a full completion date on it. should know that. It's,
I was thinking our substantial was into September.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. I have to double check what it is, but we do have completion date. I'm sure we're past it.
Brian,
I guarantee that.
question for you. I said, yeah, I know you've been, meetings all afternoon, but what options for accountability do we have in this case of like making sure the work gets done or gets done timely? Because, it seems like, I know it's, John's team with, Falcon Pinnacle are doing their best to communicate, but it seems like some of the subcontractors they've had challenge with,
Yes,
ultimately, they're still responsible for it. And
absolutely.
we have mechanisms to keep them responsible, but I know you're actively working with Dana to try to correct this, but in the sense of the painting subcontractor, if we're not hearing from them, what options do we have in this case?
Yeah, sure.
Do we have like
We don't have liquidated damages on this. We haven't done liquidated damages really on any of the projects here. The not releasing or even giving back some of the retainage is certainly an option there that you can look into. Aside from that, I would have to probably have discussions with the attorney on where you want to go with that, but yeah, there's substantial completion there is not liquidated damages. Well, right. And I mean,
that would be liquidated?
if there was a liquidated damages set in specifications, yes, we did not have that. Typically, we don't do that very often anymore. All it seems to do is drive up the cost of projects and becomes an argument, and most municipalities never act on it because there's some legal loopholes to get out of them, to be honest with you. So we stopped doing that because we saw a lot of prices driving up on them. Not saying you can't, but generally speaking.
I mean, if we have, I guess, other options to receive a similar result, whether it be like if there's truly an issue with, I don't know, we can use a performance bond after the fact, or
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
like I'm saying, like by not having liquidated damages, like maybe I can talk to Dan or attorney about this, but I assume we have other options as well to keep them accountable if they don't do the work.
Sure. Yeah, and I mean, I'll just think it through. I mean, in terms of trying to get that thing open sooner than later. Kind of to Ryan's point on the substantial complete, there is probably a way to look at I don't know, I gotta look at that, a way of acceptance, but knowing that you got your bond and your maintenance bond there, but
I think
you lose something once you do that. I just.
if there was like in this case, it is a little challenging, so I think we do have like a partial acceptance. I think it'd be a little different if it was just the fence that all needed to be done.
Right.
That was pretty clear, but like I have some concerns about the painting, like if knowing it's a service people are planning and utilizing. Maybe like a partial acceptance on that, but we're not really in a boat to do either one of them just because of what's outstanding there.
Yeah. I will have an answer tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest, as I went through that with the interim about a little more and then discuss with them. I mean, again, the loss of time, if you will, use that past the days is something that we could look at for sure. Yes.
So just for a little clarity, we asked for vinyl coated fencing.
So vinyl coated fencing on the fabric, the mesh, the
Yeah,
chain,
the mesh.
the chain itself.
Not the mesh.
Yep, which it is.
Vinyl or?
Yes.
It is.
Not coated.
No, that's vinyl coated.
It's fine.
It is.
We don't have an issue.
Correct.
I was mistaken on that. I looked through it, I saw vine coated on there.
Yep.
And I thought it was the post, so.
Yes, no, it's on the, it's on the great
Fabrics.
press. Yes. Yeah. Other questions, comments on?
Just, just
Yeah, I agree.
Just I
Okay.
agree with Brian that any time I've seen you put that hard deadline or else you're losing money. You bid it higher and the quality work goes down to the roof.
Yeah, the other way to go too is you see sometimes too is an incentive pay. So that is, you have a completion date. If somebody finishes a week ahead of time, it's per day, they get money back or they get paid for that money too. And again, same situation where, you might get the project done in time, but it got rushed through, you're paying for it, and the product's not as good.
I understand the frustration, but that's working on our numbers.
Also true.
Yeah, it should be, I agree 100%. You said the court painting, it's all good and done.
There's some additional touch up there that didn't get fully covered around that. That's what we're waiting on. That's coming back.
The drainage.
Yes,
Did we pay for that?
that's ordered. Yeah, and that's been ordered.
Last house meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Brian, okay, now, the plans on the, it does specify a black vinyl coated post with cab, a black vinyl coated top rail. Am I looking at the wrong thing here?
Let's look at the specifications before I came here, but, I'll double check.
I take a look at it and
I'll double check all that, make sure we're getting what we're specified on the plan specs for sure. Yeah, but that is what the specifications right there, I'll look at this afternoon. But I will make sure.
no, that's all right.
Okay, yep. Obviously, we'll make sure we're getting what we're supposed to be getting. Then the other thing I don't know, CDBG downtown revitalization, there's another progress meeting coming up on that next week, the 28th. Otherwise, I don't have a whole lot to update on that. Any other items or questions? Alright.
Thanks, Bernie.
Thank you.
Good luck, Brian.
Thank you. Brian, I am seeing on the bid sheet, it specifies chain link fence that's vinyl coated off of the fencing, yeah. And then it says pipe apron. I'm not seeing the actual posts on here.
I'll verify.
No, that's fine, we can talk about it later, but. Anyways. Thank you.
Looks like, you're up in the cold.
Yes, let's see, the first thing I have here for you guys, is a couple quotes, to replace the phones here at City Hall. There differences, between these. I tried to get an updated one, from Technicom, for removal of, the conference line, since if we're able to use like Microsoft Teams or Zoom through the meeting owl while having the conference line, that is a substantial portion of the price for replacing the hardware and also drives up our monthly cost. Why do that when we can do it through a free integrated solution with that? So I was looking at the KCTC one here, which would be I think 4 phones, which would be one in my office, one in the deputy clerk office, and 2 in the city clerk office. There, and that would be, we would have a monthly recurring bill of $77.31, which is an increase from our current bill of $40.71. And the equipment purchased would be $767.86 with a $600 one-time installation. I will say, like, for the extra $37 we get per month, we do currently have some issues with our phones. I know Bob Schneider's done quite a bit to help us get them by, and they're older, but also the functionality of going to a voice over internet solution would give us things like voicemail to email. So if we're not in the office and if you go directly to our email, we can see who the voice message was from. It also, you could do call forwarding or call routing. So say if I set my cell phone there, if I'm not here at City Hall, it can be forwarded to my cell phone to answer. So there's some functionality improvements. So don't think of it just as a we're replacing a direct our cost up, but they're also, I mean, there's an upgrade here as well in functionality. So
So the many drivers that are equipment is outdated and
Yes.
and won't go along.
yes, there's I don't know, Stephanie, do you have anything to add on the phone system quality?
It's kind of, you know, the phone are on some days, so.
Right.
You put it on hold, and sometimes it hangs up. It's not reliable, that's for sure.
I don't know it. Yes, Podge told me that these are the phone systems that they used for, I don't know, well over a decade, if not longer than that. I think we are probably due for an upgrade. So we would own the equipment on this. So we would see a increase in our cost per month, but not having these new, so we're talking, $37 a month for increased functionality.
This is apples to apples, though.
No, because the other one has the conference line, and I said I tried to get that removed on there, but I didn't get a response from them. So I at least wanted to see if you show you that like the cost of the equipment in some ways where if you look at the first one on there, where you'll see let's see. This also has like phone rental on here. And I was-
noticed that, yeah.
I tried to get asked me to come back from them on that.
Yeah, you both have cell phones provided by the city.
We get a stipend paid to us $50 a month for
You get a stipend.
Yeah, so does Stephanie,
I mean,
so does Brian, so does Logan.
and this is just me spitballing like. At work, Zoom does our whole phone system.
Yeah.
And you can have equipment sitting there, or it can just be an app on your phone, and it goes to your cell phone. Or you could have just a headset. That's sitting there by your computer. I mean, if that was something that you'd be interested in, maybe that'd be something worth looking at.
I think I'd be open to look into it, if we still have it's still like the voice over internet type of system. Again, we still have a headset here or something like that, but it still has the functionality of using our phones covered.
Yeah, like, I don't, at work, I don't have a desk phone, I don't have a headset, either, I just choose, but they're all goes through my phone. But some people, they just have the earpiece that they can put in, or some people have the actual physical desk phone they can pick up, and it's kind of up to the user, And, I don't know what that looks like for phones. What's that?
It's easy to turn on.
Yes, absolutely. You can actually set it to turn on its own.
So it's only on during. business
Yeah,
hours.
you can set it where at 4:30, this is off. And I will not receive city calls. It won't ring to that.
I do think it would be nice on some of the functionality of being able to better route calls. So if there's something that's like it's an item that needs to go to Brian or Logan, or it needs to go to people. Sort of.
Yeah, without having that capability as well, I can. Whether or not it immediately goes. And just,
I mean, I'd be okay.
it's just a thought.
I'd be okay to table it and look into that as an option.
And I didn't have Robert look at it, but I'm curious what he's familiar with.
I would buy involves opinion on it as well.
So that you use that like a Bluetooth headset or
Use
If you have a headset at your desk, it's hooked into your computer USB.
Because that's one
Otherwise,
thing that I would really like to see when you're on the phone, you're trying to hold it up, you're trying to pull up someone's account or type something.
yeah.
So I would just like to have some option to have a clear connection with them that's answering.
Right, I use my AirPods. Because I only use this with that. Now, I know there's several services like that, and they're all internet based.
I don't know, but this is based on your experience. Is there a difference in call quality between like a solution for that versus an actual like phone line solution. No, it's just saying,
As long as your internet connection is good, it's good. It's not great. And that's with all internet-based phone systems.
Be something to consider.
Yeah, but I mean, we're looking at internet-based phone systems here. Okay?
Yeah.
Why?
no, this is the internet based solution.
So that's the only thing. That's your only concern with that.
I mean, ultimately though, that's why we also have for key people have their cell phones on the website. So if there is an issue or phone lines go down, there is an alternative way to get in contact.
Right.
with us. So. Yeah, we can not do this one tonight. We can come back with more information, some other options, and then also get the quotes themselves, more comparable.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you guys get what you want to decide on the Sunny phone system is fine.
Yeah.
All right, they'll do further investigating the system.
Well, no action on that needed.
Nope.
We already talked about the Wellness Center Town Hall meeting next Monday, 6 p.m. right here. Nuisance abatement update. I don't know if everyone saw, I think I mentioned in my email last week that letters have all been sent out. I met with our attorney and I talked about the foreclosure process that would affect one of the properties. And based off of that type, that the ownership or responsibility would not be taken over the bank until after the foreclosure had taken place. So in this case, knowing that this is out there, like it's in the first half of November when that sale would actually occur. We already sent a letter to the current order. I guess the notice was sent to the current order. However, the reality of the situation is they're not going to own the property and after this month. And the time to, I guess, that we would give to abate that nuisance would go beyond what the reasonable time of their ownership would be. So realistically speaking, they're not gonna do anything with it and would have to work with whoever the owner is, whether it be the bank or whoever purchased the property. So I wanna make it clear.
They understand the story.
Yeah. But I want to be clear though that that the path of action is, based off of this getting sold, all of having been just being realistic and best use of our time and resources.
Makes sense.
Not that we're holding off or not doing it, there's no reason to waste our time or resources on this until we can actually reasonably ensure action, which, yeah.
I understand that part of it, but whoever may purchase this at a sheriff's auction or whatever, are they gonna be aware of what?
I mean,
I'm just saying.
I'm not sure if I'll be aware of those, to be honest, I'm not sure how those foreclosure sales go. I think there's probably people who buy things sight unseen, and, but at the same time, as the owner, they would be notified and have the same, they need to abate this right away. So,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they drive the chip. They're getting the bait.
Yeah, you put the check clears, it's like, hey, yeah, well, you know, really clear it up.
That case, and,
Hmm.
just,
Well, I don't, but I plan on $100 at that sheriff sale, and if that's the case, if I get it for $1, I'll make sure to get it cleaned up in the spring.
well, it's not. There's a path to it. You have to look at that all winter, but it is what it is. It's what can you do? So,
I don't know if realistically, I think if you get, it sold in November, I'm not really sure, I think as soon as they get that sold, you'd be at least able to get some of the immediate things done, so like getting the right of way cut back, tree clearing through there, clearing off the sidewalk, immediate weeds around there. That's not addressing the actual property itself, like the building, the house, but if we can get it cut back around the public area, that would be
yeah,
the first stop.
sure, the people across the street are doing on one side because they're from, but it's, have to look at that.
Anyways, the other two properties, that we had discussed. Those notices have been sent out. I think December for the most part. The major deadline for a lot of the other two properties was December 1st. But I haven't talked to Terry this week yet to see if he's had an update or heard anyone on this. So I would hope that they would follow up with Terry and say, hey, this is my plan of action to get this done, and they take care of it, but I don't know on that.
Thank you, and Terry, for your work on
Stephanie's also sent out.
So I have a question, like, means how we're taking the action on that first property. We're moving up another one to be our top three.
We could, yeah.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Because I really think we should do a couple more, but
Well, I do too, I believe.
I think that once I don't see right we can't do more.
I can fit a couple on the next one to list.
I mean,
You think you have it?
One that had 2 votes or something on there. I'll.
I think that
Move forward.
Yeah, absolutely right.
as many as you can.
Last week, September financials, one thing I want to make you aware of, you'll see negative balance in capital projects. The transfer has been made now, but when this report was pulled, so it was as of the end of September, that transfer had not been made. Now that balance is positive there. But that would, yeah. So we probably need to look at so with capital projects, after these two, we have closing out Pinball Courts and Cherry Lane. We have to look at what's coming up next and then make a transfer prior to that project beginning. But I think we should be coming to a little bit of a, I think for the first time in a long time, a bit of a hiatus without an active capital projects right now going on, which I think will actually be kind of nice for planning and figuring out what we want to do next. And but anyways, Stephanie, do you have anything specific you wanted to,
No, there was just a restriction also in this transfer. We had to close the other budget to open a new budget. And since we did a lot of geocoding and updates there,
Let's change
it took a little bit longer to align those into the budget framers that Colt had sent. So it was just a little bit delayed to get the budget uploaded, which you can't make a transfer if a budget's not in there.
I know, I think one of the challenges with our accounting system is like we've inherited a lot of there's a lot of like things that were I know adding the general ledger number that added and was a one-off thing or was never made inactive. And it's not quite as simple as starting fresh and building out what you need right now. It's a lot of existing messy things that you can, as well as trying to fit that into a new what is best practice or closer to best practice setup. And I think that can be applied to a lot of things at the city here. We're trying to do our best. And
So we're going to establish the update with the state. Yes.
yeah, so we're trying to follow as closely as we can to General County Standards Board number 34, or number 34, which is what's used for the Iowa Uniform Traffic Accounts for cities, which is established or adopted by the Iowa City Finance Committee. I think is what it ends up being, the state agency. It sets the standards for what your line items should be and how you organize your budget and your accounting system. So our goal is to get it aligned as much as possible to those standards, as well as with the Iowa Department of Management's budget forms. So when it comes to doing our annual finance report or doing the budget, things are close to 1-to-1. And it doesn't take a lot of trying to interpret what did the person who put this together intend for this category to be in, because right now, there's a little bit of, you gotta think of, oh, why is this, where was it supposed to go? And piece together, and it makes it difficult to have consistency between your budget, your AFR, and anyways, It's a big undertaking, and I'll be honest, I don't know if Stephanie or I understood how big of a bite we were taking off with some of the changes, but we're working our way through it. And I think getting the budget uploaded and that has been helpful, but I gotta finish the chart of accounts and get it updated, because I know that's been a pain for you to get your expenditures with. I don't know, oh, what's this number? What's this? So
But I think going forward, it will ultimately make it easier for the council to understand when we're doing financials. It puts it in a narrower view rather than subcategories. So it's gonna, I think, clarify a whole lot more.
yeah, I think that's the. And I think we will need, so I know Kevin King did a met with Lois to look through the financials about what it'd be like to the city treasurer. We will need to have that appointed. I would say we probably do that taking effect beginning of next calendar year, if that's all right with you. We do our appointments for mayor pro tem and commissions and boards and things like that. Just we have kind of a clean stop there, but I think it's good to get some training in there and
Is tomorrow no time for this month or?
Yeah.
Just let me know this week.
Yeah.
I have an appointment too tomorrow, other than that.
Okay.
For this one.
I think that's all we got.
Closing comments.
I have one, the email Colt sent out about the, open meetings laws.
Yes.
So I want to invite you guys, if you want to, I'm gonna do the November 19th one from 10:30 a.m. to noon. If you want to come up to Van Meter, we have a conference room that has, it's on Zoom. And we have a conference room that, Cole and Lois and I have utilized, and we can just sit there and watch it on, it's on you got a big TV in there, and it's got a camera on, it watches you, it's like sure.
If you have more than three, I'll have to put a work session together.
So just for people.
Yeah.
It's just for new elected officials or appointed officials.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm still required to take it.
I don't believe so. I think it's just newly elected. However, I do think this is probably a good thing. I don't, from what I read, I don't think it's a very long or lengthy training, but I do think it's probably a good idea to brush up on some other.
Hour and a half.
Required versus recommended is kind of what I'm hearing. They're saying that it's not really a requirement on reelected, but it's highly encouraged and recommended.
But for anybody that would like to do it, and if we need to set up a work session for you,
We have,
you're more than welcome to come up and use Van Meter's facilities rather than staring at the phone for an hour and a half.
I will say that taking the training, even if you're not required to, does help to minimize our liability or risk of violating open meetings or open records laws. And the more people we have that are up to date on all that information is a good thing. Frank, I couldn't take it as well. I think it's a good idea to brush up on that. And you always learn something you don't know. So
The only thing I have is when we said that we just hired somebody and then the office closed. I mean, I think with having 3 people available, that we should not be. That's my opinion.
So Karen's not full-time yet. That's the challenge. So she only has a limited amount of availability right now. So it still is. There is days where Carrie is available right now, and there's days when she's not. And then right now, Stephanie had a prior obligation as well, and I'll be committed for.
I didn't feel like she was just temporary, but part-time when it was started out.
Yeah, there's.
So that when we hired her, she was coming in. And
I think it'll be
like, I'm just saying, I don't.
So she has times that she cannot be available or?
No,
she's flexible hours.
as of November 1st.
November 3rd.
Okay.
She's full time.
Oh, okay. How's she working out? How well, when asked?
What?
She's learning.
Good.
I think we maybe stumbled a little bit today talking about funds versus bank accounts and fund transfers and I think that might take a little bit of time to come around and understand it, but it's also not expected of her to understand the ins and outs of how like public finances work. But at the same time, having an understanding of how that works is a good idea.
So
So,
a lot to learn, and maybe it's better that you have somebody that you can teach where you want them to be taught.
exactly, that was my thoughts on it, so trying to do it in digestible bits, like getting her, I think, we do have some like outstanding improvement type of things, like with uploading files into Laserfish and getting more publicly accessible, so not just like our records, public records are available and accessible. At the same time, what are the things that we can get onto our website or get to a place that's easy to obtain? But we'll talk more about that with her and figure out what ways we can make improvements there. So
We're pretty good when you're speaking about the Laserfish and all that.
Yeah.
For one thing, a year or more ago, that company that does some of our website, we could have something where we're gonna have a search bar, which never happened. You know, so you can't go and search for anything.
the search bar that got added, Lois, was, I think there's two options if I remember correctly, and part of it, I think option started before had even started, but there's a search bar option that allows you to search pages and web page content, and there's one that allows, it's like more of a, I don't know how to, if you're looking to search actual,
Word, then the pages
well, if you're
aren't-
looking to search, I will say, I figured this out, if you're trying to search something that's gonna be in a PDF document, search on Google, and it will pull you to what the page is. So say if you want to find something in an ordinance, that's because the PDFs are readable online, but not by that search bar. Search in Google. It's, I know it's kind of a weird workaround, but there's, I think only, I guess I'll admit, I think our website in some ways is a bit limited on some of the capacity of what it can do, and in some ways doesn't quite live up to maybe the functionality that we need, but
Well, part of the difference is too, is previously it was scanned as an image. So when you're scanning it as an image, it's not looking for your text. So now when we're uploading, it's actually uploading as text because it's all digital. So anytime we have a physical signature, it gets scanned in as an image and then it has to be converted. Yeah, and it takes longer. So we can take all of those and pull them off and convert them and put them back on. It's gonna be a really long process. But if you're looking for something that say has happened in the last, 6 months, it's gonna be a whole lot easier.
Well, too, I guess there's times, I mean, not as much, but there are meetings online too, I kind of miss that, because there's things that are said and you can't go back. I mean, you said you have the recording here, but it's nice to be able to, I mean, if I don't have until 10 o'clock at night to do it, or something to do that, and there were just different times that who said what, or what did the engineers think, It's nice, that's, yeah.
Well, they're all on YouTube now, so they're all posted. They automatically post as soon as the meeting ends. Part of the hesitancy with, or the restriction with putting the others on is we actually paid for a program that cut the video and uploaded it. And that subscription or contract, whatever that was, had ceased. So
People are, I've talked to people that are finding that's our historian. It's right there.
There's a story. Get that camera off.
Well, it is that talking.
Motion for sure. All right, motion by Kevin Key, seconded by Lois Snyder to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Negative, motion passed. Adjourned at 7:18.
beautiful.
Nice word.
Lois, would,
Actually.
hit that.
Yeah.